Alright, good morning YouTube. Uh, Today's gonna be a pretty big pill to swallow for a lot of you, but your past is holding you back, right? Let's say you come to work the next day, tomorrow even, and you come in with clothes that look much better, right? You don't wear that slob that you normally wear. Many people around, right? Are gonna be like, "Oh, Jimmy, what sparked this change in you, right? Where did this all come from all of a sudden, right?" What they're doing is they're basing their basing their experience from you and trying to tie you back and almost make you conform to your past experiences, right? Say you were never a funny guy and you come and you actually are pretty funny and you make some jokes and you're like, where did this come from, right? What you do normally, what I did normally, right? I'd be like, actually, yeah, I am the unfunny guy, and I try to reform myself back into the one that's quiet and doesn't make jokes, right? Your past is holding you back, and it's your environment too. Your environment tries to rubber band you into how you and to make you conform to your average your average state of being, right? You never normally hit the gym, or let's say you're a smoker. You tell yourself, I was a smoker because of your past. But in reality, and I'm sure you've heard this before, but by telling yourself you was a smoker, it's almost validating your previous lifestyle. Say, you have to go and pretend that you were never a smoker and you never lit a cigarette, right? And you'll have a much easier time. Almost like you're letting your past go much as you could consider it dead. So much so as you could consider it dead. That's what I mean to say, right? You were basically deleting your old self. You are, in other words, becoming reborn, right? In Christianity, when you're baptized, the person you come, the person that goes into the water and the person that comes out are not the same, at least in the eyes of the Christian God, right? That's how you should treat every day, honestly, right? And any forms of resistance you find in real life, right? I don't know. Now you're active on Instagram, right? Now you started a YouTube channel. Now you are a runner. You don't go and tell yourself, yeah, I never ran before and I never actually recorded before and you know, just say, yeah, I am a runner. Just go and say that and continue to run, right? Try to kill that past self, right? And you'd find later on that by reaffirming your new state of being, you'll find a much easier time actually changing. Because ultimately, we don't like change, okay? No matter how, okay, if we have to go and educate people on why change is important, often that means the 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 given status quo is to not like change, right? 'Cause change is against tradition, right? Progressiveness, right? So let's get into why, right? Why don't we like change to begin with, right? The reason why humanity doesn't like change, and ultimately why you don't like change in your source code, the reason why you have an inhibition to change is because we all live in our past. We all live in our past. We nostalgia chase, right? We look for the good times. We go and I always see Blade Runner memes of that guy laying down being like, damn, 2016, damn, 2020, damn, 2023. Like we're chasing the past as if the past, like I swear to God, people actually um testify that the saturation of colors in their vision almost was in a greater intensity than how it is today. Today is more duller, more gray. I swear to God, if you go to the park right now, right, and you go to the park in 50 years, it's the same, right? I know actually because of like growth hormones, if when you're a kid, it actually has a higher saturation. You can look that up, but you're a grown ass adult, bro, or you're a fucking teenager, right? You're not a fucking toddler anymore, okay? That only happens with toddlers, and they say they can replicate that saturation with like mushrooms almost. That's why it brings the inner kid back. Hippies act like kids, right? They jump around and skip like fucking, right? But you are trapped by your past because you live there in that cage, right? And what do I mean by that? What do I mean by that, right? How do you normally think, right? Let's get into that. What primarily what do you primarily think about, right? Some people actually they think about their future so much, right? They they're in like analysis paralysis where they stand still, but their mind is racing about future decisions, right? Many people they go and think about last night, last weekend, the party they went to, last year, last this, last that, right? What did Becky say to me yesterday? Did she really mean that? Like they're chewing on thoughts of past experiences, right? Letting this moment slip by, right? Very rarely do you see people live in the actual present, right? And there's this one YouTuber by the name of Third Eye Tyrone, right? That I love listening to. He goes and says, right? I'm gonna link him in the description. He goes and says, when we were in the ocean, right? Billions of years ago, and our skin cells started uh being sensitive to light, and they had photo receptiveness. It gave us a whole new dimension of survival, right? Before we were blind to that whole world of what's what's lighter and what's darker. We didn't know until that one mutation happened, and it changed the landscape and actually gave us a competitive edge, right? And so on and so forth, right? Every new sense we get is a new dimension into this reality, right? And now we have like hundreds of senses. And you're like, what? No, I was told to have only five senses. No, you have sense of balance, sense of temperature, right? It goes on, right? Weight, like how heavy things feel. You sense a lot of things, right? But this one sense that actually put us ahead of the rest of the tree of life is your imagination almost ultimately, right? Reason being is you can go and simulate and almost map out future scenarios. If I go this way, this might happen. If I go that way, that's the survival aspect of your imagination. That's why it was introduced, right? Or at least that's that mutation gave us a competitive edge, and that's why it's been carried throughout humanity. And actually, many humans they can't visualize almost, right? So it is like a hereditary trait. You can it's not a given with every human that they can go and visualize things, right? But those that do visualize and have that spark of imagination have it way easier in life than those that don't, because they can see this whole new realm of simulated future events, right? You don't use your imagination to draw, right? That's that's almost like a that's almost like you're misaligning that tool, right? Or you're it's not practiced in the right way. What you really do is you use your imagination to say, okay, if I take this left and then there, like, you're that's your visualization. That's your imagination, right? Ronaldo, but when he kicks the soccer ball, he imagines it going in, right? And people say, oh, that's a law of attraction. Da, da, da. No, that's not actually, because that, like I said, that act of kicking that ball is chaotic, but his imagination is helping him streamline into that chaos what his intentions are, and it helps his body work in unison because their body your body is almost remembering your imagination, like what happened in that future event, and then it's just replicating that, like, okay, I imagined the shot going in with a form like this, and then you just replicate that form in the present and it goes in. That's that's the that's why we simulate things for war. That's why we simulate things for studies, right? That's literally the application of it, right? And where this all comes to regarding you're trapped by your past, right? Is you are trapped in your imagination when it comes to those that think in the future all the time, right? And the past dwellers, you are trapped in what has happened. And ultimately what has happened can never benefit you today because of the state of chaos that we're in, right? We're truly an entropy, we're mortals. You can't tell me the next time I flip a coin, right? It won't turn into a butterfly, right? Like, chaos is real, okay? The sample size of all the times we ever flipped a coin and it landed on either heads or tails is not large enough for our for in regards to like a cosmic scale, right? If I go and crash this car, I might go through the wall. You don't know, right? You can't rely on basically what I'm saying is you can't rely on your past experiences to deduce every future event. You can't. Otherwise, accidents should never actually happen, right? When in reality they do all the time. It's that third body problem. But instead of three different joints, it's billions of joints. It's literally the stock market. I can't go and say because of these trade signals I will be profitable. The past doesn't the past doesn't equal the future. Like, it doesn't work that way. So you're trapped in the past thinking it'll benefit you, and you're trapped in the future simulating endlessly and never actually acting upon it. You have to you have to almost and this is crazy, right? You almost have to devolve your mind and live like an animal with no imagination if you want to truly succeed, right? The animal, because he's trapped in the present, he doesn't think, oh, well, based on my 50 other attempts this year on catching this bison, I won't be able to, like, this one's futile. I won't be able to take it down. He doesn't think that way. He sees something, he's hungry, and he's hungry. He sees something he wants to eat, and he goes right for it every fucking time. It's that primal instinct, and he doesn't sit there fucking trapped in analysis paralysis and letting that opportunity slip by. He doesn't, right? All of his all of his tactics in terms of like hunting and everything he is taught by from his parents. He takes that. and then also instinctual, like animal instinct. And he he all he does is he reacts to his environment and takes it, right? And takes what he owns. So why would developing help you, right? It's because you're not on the same playing field with all these other humans, right? All these other humans are thinking about their past experience applying to this job that they never fucking got it. When in reality, their past doesn't mean that this next job is there's no point in applying to it, right? And these other humans are thinking so much about how they like the art of applying to jobs without actually fucking doing it. Like they're stuck in the future, thinking, okay, what's the best way? What's the best area? Actually, I need my environment to be nice. I can't be in my room applying for jobs. I have to be in a separate workspace, and actually, I have to have a standing table, and actually, I have to wear a certain outfit, and actually, I need a coffee, and you never. You're at such a disadvantage compared to the guy that actually just sits down and throws it, and YOLO shoots the shot. You know. Like you have to have competency, of course. Like I'm not saying like don't have like art like grace in your craft, right? But what I'm saying is it's holding you back, right? It is holding you back. And one other thing that Third Eye Tyrone does say, right, is your past and present are just hallucinations of uh your three-dimensional state of being, right? Or four and a half-ish state of being, right? A dimensional state of being. What I mean by that is time scientists say is a dimension. It's a temporal dimension, right? And we're stuck in a timeline where we can't manipulate the flow of time. We can't go back and forth, right? We're stuck into the present. That's what I said last time. Like we're quite literally stuck in the present. But if I were a fifth dimensional being or something higher, I would be able to manipulate this timeline and I would actually be able to view almost like a worm, right? Like stop motion or time lapse. Not really time. It's it's like it's where the car's lights like if it's like a long exposure, yeah, long exposure videos. You could watch the car trail almost like a snake, and you could just see the rear tail lights, the red rear tail lights move like the Flash almost. You know how he's moving so fast, he looks like one stream, right? If I was a fifth dimensional person, I would see your life that way. I could go and see your whole entire timeline and where your position is on this XYZ plane, right? All the way from your birth all the way to your death, right? And you're like this one unit, right? And what we're experiencing is just one slice of that worm almost, right? At a time. That's where we are. But and I can't grab where you once were. I'll I'll just grab the air, right? But that fifth dimensional being could grab where you once were, and it'll affect your body. And he could go to your death place, right? And touch that before you're even like, because there's no before and after for him, because it's all it all happened already. It's all happening, has happened, and will happen at the same time. It's like outside of the scope. You could go to your deathbed and you could go to your birthplace and see. You know what I'm saying? In the same location, not in the same location, but you could trail it almost, right? So this is a hallucination. There is really no past or present. You know what I mean? There is it already has happened, and it hasn't happened yet. You know, this is just our perspective, right? It's like the 2D paper stick human. You draw a square around him, and he's trapped. But in reality, shouldn't he just be able to jump up? But he's not able to. He's not aware of that z-axis plane. He's not aware of it, right? So in his world, he's actually trapped, and that's what we think. We're like, why can't we just rewind it or fast forward, right? Or why can't we just have precognition and stuff like that? Well, we're trapped in the present, just like that stick human's trapped in that square, right? So because you no matter what you do, you can't know your fate. And no matter what you no matter how far you look back into the past, like the history does not actually like if you know your history enough, you know your future. That's a fucking lie and cope and fucking cap because every every um every era that we're in, it changes. Okay, we're in the information era, like the post Cold War, second Cold War, you could almost call it, right? The landscape is so much different from Napoleon, where they were just wielding swords and they would stand in a single file line and say, "Okay, we'll meet at Saturday at 10 a.m. Be there," and then those armies would formally go there. What the fuck? No, bro, we're in guerrilla warfare. We're going to bomb you from a drone missile strike from my bedroom with a remote controller, like almost Call of Duty. Like that's what people will do. So the times are different. The history does not equal knowing the future. That's just fucking cope. Okay, live in the present, devolve, right? Almost don't use your imagination. Almost that's what I'm trying to say, and you'll have a competitive edge. All right, you should only use your imagination if the opportunity calls for it. But you see, like this time and place, right, doesn't call for it, right? So, or like certain times and places, like okay, if I'm this Call of Duty person, right, I'm simulating. Hmm, you know, I see a red dot north. I see. I think someone might be to the left. I think you understand what I mean by imagination. He's anticipating someone over there only because he can foresee it. And look, there's someone who's actually there. Does he have like metacognition? No, he doesn't. He doesn't. It's quite literally just his imagination, right? So there's use cases for your imagination, okay? But you shouldn't you shouldn't let your future trap you, and you shouldn't let your past trap you. Honestly, I lean towards the future. Like I respect people who are stuck in the future more than there's people that are stuck in the past because those people that are stuck in the past are bitches, bro. Like you shouldn't feel bad for them, okay? Oh my God, my dog died. Oh, all right. I'm sorry to hear that, but what now? Okay, guys. Oh, my taxes. I missed my taxes last year. Oh, I think I might be locked up by the IRS. Okay, there's no point in thinking about that right now. Okay, like about the fact that you fucked up your taxes. What are you gonna do now about it? I don't want to hear that. Okay, and you shouldn't even be telling people, right? What the fuck? They're midwits, bro. A lot of these guys are midwits. Okay, and you shouldn't really like you shouldn't feel bad because a lot of these opportunities you must take from people. Okay, like and that's what I'm ultimately giving you, right? A competitive edge. You shouldn't use this information for laughs and giggles, right? No, dude, you got to use this to conquer your dreams. There is a limited amount of space, a room here in this world, okay? No matter how grand and vast it is, like it's still limited, okay? And I want to secure my fucking land, okay? You have to be territorial. You have to be like a ooga booga caveman. You literally have to be, okay? And what's one last thing I could spit into this video? Let's talk about death and anxiety, okay? This is adjacent to this topic, so a lot of the points will transfer over. But what stops us? Like, okay, since we had our imagination, right? This is not from Third Eye Tyrone. This is actually from Ernest Becker, right? Terror Management Theory, TMT. That's where I got this idea from. I'll link all that shit in the description. But death anxiety, right, is something okay, so once we discovered our imagination, once we mutated and our brain was able to simulate future events, we were petrified and we were chimping out, like as you could say, right? Fucking going batshit, right? Um, we can't possibly function knowing that we're gonna die one day, that you know the consequences of our actions might like one plus one equals two, like knowing that oh man, uh, something I did yesterday will affect my tomorrow. Just knowing your future, you know? And by knowing your future, having an imagination. That's what I mean by knowing, like knowing there is a future almost, right? Like knowing this new dimension of time, right? More so than your present shocked our ancestors, okay? And we needed a coping mechanism for it, right? Just like how the woodpecker, he found a whole new food source in the bark of animals. I mean, in the bark of trees, right? He needed to create like a coping mechanism physically to help us aid in this with this new strategy. So his tongue literally wraps around his brain as a cushion, and his brain is small as fuck too, but still like it's delicate, right? And now he can access that new tool, right? So we had this new tool, and we needed this new coping mechanism, or we would just like the woodpecker, we just be concussed and we die almost. It would be non advantageous, or like the koala, right? Like we needed to accommodate for this new food source. So the koala, what does it do, right? It's dumb, and it didn't really like. You see what I'm saying? Like it needs to eat the eucalyptus plant, but the eucalyptus plant is very poisonous, so it created an antibody. And now with this new adaptation, it's so fucking disgusting if you want to eat it that animals literally stay away. And because animals don't literally stay away, they never really had to adapt to their and they're fucking retarded, right? So yeah, I can bring up a bunch of examples about coping mechanisms, but our imagination required a coping mechanism, right? Is what ultimately what I'm saying. And this coping mechanism is your imagination. No, no, not your imagination. My bad. It is your culture, right? It is culture. And you're like, why? Why would we say culture is a coping mechanism for death anxiety? Knowing that we're gonna die one day, knowing that there's a future. Why would you say that, right? It's because you know you're gonna die one day. You're you're being a life form that ultimately wants to you want to live forever. Okay, that's the truth. That's why many religions say you will earn eternal life in the hereafter, either in hell or heaven, or you will reincarnate. Like there's no fucking end to experiences. I mean, right? It's something we truly want. Okay, no matter how evil the religion may be, even it's fucking Satanism. They say hell is a party, right? Hell is a party that never ends, right? And actually, Lucifer, he enlightened us, so we have to be grateful. He was the light bearer, like in the morning star. You see what I'm saying? Even the complete opposite of like the moral spectrum agrees that there'll be no end to your experience of right. You'll ultimately be immortal, right? But as mortals now, we can't fathom that. We can't cope with that. Like we can't cope with that whatsoever, right? So we try to immortalize ourselves with through our achievements, through our children, right? So that we can, so that we beat death ultimately, right? Being on the leaderboard, having a bench named after you, uh, erecting a statue in your name, like the pharaohs, having a legacy will ultimately outlive you because everybody knew your second death is when they forget about you. So people were like, "Don't forget about me. Don't forget about me. Put me in your songs, in your poems, in your epics and sagas. Worship me." You know what I mean? Name your tribe after me, right? Put me on the Mountain Rushmore. Put me on the face of the dollar bill, right? Don't let me die. Don't let me die. Don't let me die. It's like a cry for help. That's what death anxiety is, right? I mean, culture is. Culture, guys, the way we dance, right? It will outlive you. Guys, I created the salsa, and now all Brazilians or Latin Americans salsa now. Oh, the creator of salsa is named something salsa. Marco Salsa or something. And this is part of our culture. And that basically Marco Salsa, I'm just making that up. That man is immortal now. And like in for the human experience. He will never die, and he goes to death. He dies in his deathbed at peace because, you know, people won't forget about him. That's death anxiety. That's culture. You know, that's what culture is to you. Everything about your culture. This is the way we talk. This is the way we dress. This is the way we eat. We laugh. This is the way we all that fucking shit is a coping mechanism for the fact that all your experiences will be gone. Like, for example, do you remember the richest man in the 1600s, or do you know like the most prominent families? Like, no, you don't, bro. Like Kim Kardashian and all those people, they are known now, but will they be known in 100 years? No, and that terrifies them. Yeah, absolutely terrifies them, right? Mathematicians, even the smartest, quote unquote, write theorems in their name, right? These are Newtonian laws. This is Einsteinian theory, yeah. Physicists, uh, right? This is Hawking's radiation, right? Fuck out of here, bro. Right? So, death, your future, right? It haunts people, right? It haunts you every day, right? And ultimately, we know the end conclusion. Whether you believe in religion or not, we know the end conclusion that you will die, okay? That's so given. That's one thing I can. They say two things are certain: death and taxes, right? So I can ultimately say to you right now, you're gonna die one day. To give up that culture shit, okay? I know that culture means a lot. Just, just give it up, right? Or that language or whatever they call. Ernest Becker calls it uh, a fetish almost, you know, because it's like it's all it gives you pleasure, kind of. You know, it's kind of weird, right? It's a weird fantasization that we all create, right? Because we know our imagination. And you look at the animals and they have fucking culture, right? If we were to see other animal or life forms in the universe that are on the same that have the same sense of imagination and the sense of, you know, the future that we have, they'll have culture because they will be petrified with the fact that they're gonna die. Each life form is gonna die one day. They're gonna have to pass something on. You know what I mean? So yeah, don't be tied to your future, right? By meaningless culture things like, yeah, bro, this is the Scouse accent. Yeah, this is this act like, guys, this is how we dance. This is how we sing. Look at my recital. Look at the way I do ballet. Unless it makes you money, okay, then go ahead, right? But otherwise, don't fucking waste your time, okay? If I learn a language, it's because it helps me, okay, in my pursuits, right? But knowing like formal like etiquette and stuff, I guess it can help you, but like, guys, you know, there's better things we can do with our time, all right? And I'll get into why I'm so like growth oriented and stuff like that, or in terms of like money and the like. But just know your past is trapping you, okay? Right? Oh, this is how people remember me as. Oh, blah 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 blah. If people remember you as the fucking joke, right? And you come out here like the shit, like a boss. They're gonna try to conform you to that past because it reaffirms their past. It's more selfish. It's more for them than it is for you because you're growing and they want you to go back into how you once were. So don't give in. You were never a smoker. You were never a couch sitter. You were never a bum, okay? Just forget, let that person die. Let that lower self. You have evolved now. The butterfly doesn't think about his days as a caterpillar, okay? That caterpillar is dead almost. That it's a new person that comes out, right? So come on, guys. Wake up, right? I remember there's one famous TikTok. It was a guy who's like, "You gotta kill yourself, bro." But if you listen to the rest of that, he's basically saying what I'm saying, right? It's like you got to let go of your previous images, your self images. I mean, and leave some room and space for growth. Okay, because it's you're cluttered up. You need to empty your recycle bin. You need to take the trash out. You got a lot of baggage. All right, dead weight. If I'm on a hot air balloon, I'm throwing all those memories away of my smoker days. I'm throwing them, and guess what? Hot air balloon will lift, right? So there you go. Your past is trapping you, and your future is an illusion that you can never can never truly, like, your imagination can never, if your imagination can truly simulate the future, then you have precognition. Like, you should never make a mistake again. But you know that's not the case, right? So your imagination has uses, but but in terms of, and one last thing, okay? Before because I was concluding, but one last thing before I leave, right? Many of the jobs, you're not solving new problems, okay? That's what they tell you in school, but you're not really solving any new problems, okay? You're you're taking on tasks delegated by higher ups because they don't want to do it, okay? You're regurgitating already new information, already known information, I mean, right? So don't fucking lie to me, or don't lie to yourself and lie to me that, yeah, man, I need to go and create a new theorem and stuff like that. Bro, all these physicists are broke when they make those ideas. They don't need them. What I needed to do is tell me a easier way to I don't know, make a hot pocket in a microwave or something. If you like solve a problem in that manner, sure, but there's no like, if you if you make a new frontier of something, it's not like you're gonna be rewarded like yeah, like Stephen. Bro, all these guys are broke. Okay, Galileo was actually imprisoned. Okay, when he learned that shit because he was going against the church. You know what I mean? You're just the people that make the most money. Okay, aren't the ones that innovate. Okay, because the ones that truly innovate gets their ideas stolen. But it's that Edison phenomenon. Okay, if you want to be rich and famous, I'll show you. How about I link a video from this guy called Better Call George? You guys watch that about why he doesn't want to be rich and famous, and I'll show you Third Eye Tyrone regarding imagination, and I'll show you Ernest Becker about death management theory. That's basically the synopsis of this video. But just understand, to be rich, you have to steal other people's ideas. You got to be that sucker that you have to take ideas from fucking suckers that make it, okay? And then you don't allocate all your energy into creating an idea. You go and apply the idea, right? You don't like I'm personally, all right. I'm gonna tell you, I'm a digital pirate. Okay, I pirate information. Okay, because I can't do it. Okay, I don't pay comic book writers to read their comic books. I don't pay subscriptions to watch Netflix shows, even though Netflix spent billions of dollars on their catalog. Right? I don't pay at the theater. I only go to the theater when I want to. Okay, but I can still see that fucking movie because I steal that intellectual property and I use it for my own gain. That's how the fucking world works. Okay, so let go of this imagination mumbo jumbo. If you want to be fucking successful, you gotta steal these. You gotta steal. Okay, ultimately, right? But I don't know if you want to, but I'm just telling you that's how it works. All right, you gotta take this. It doesn't really help you. But like, oh no, but my imagination can go and create new ideas and fuck your ideas, bro. Now the AI can make my ideas for me, bro. Am I gonna give the AI credit and give it money? No, I'm not gonna give it money, bro. Have you ever told the AI thank you? You're a bitch, bro. Honestly, bro. You know what I mean? You're a fucking bitch. So yeah, guys, don't use your imagination. You think I'm trolling, but I'm not, bro. I gave you all of the information. Don't use your information. Don't use your imagination, because ultimately, all of the things, like all these problems, you don't need to solve problems. You just need to repeat. Okay, you're doing the menial work that these higher ups don't want to do. You're a code monkey. Okay, you type the fucking keyboard and you make the same components that's already been made in the code base. All right. You're a carpenter. It's not like you're making a new fucking design of wood, bro. You're just doing the same shit all the time because the project manager doesn't want to do it himself. Okay, he has the money, but he doesn't want to do it. You know what I mean? That's what it is. So let go of this imagination shit. All right. And I told you why the imagination is there, but it also inhibits you in a sense because you have paralysis analysis and you have false senses of hope. Right? When the presidents and stuff come to little kindergartens and they go and tell, yeah, one of you guys can be the president too, and all the kids get up and smile. You're there smiling too, bro, like a bitch, bro. Right? The president knows none of you guys can be presidents, right? All the presidents are related, honestly. You know what I mean? You seen that theory? The presidents know you won't be a president. They're just saying that shit, okay? Trump literally goes and says to the Nelk boys, one of you guys can sit in this seat and fly Air Force One too. He's just saying that shit. You believe it? Fuck out of here, bro. Right? I am being trapped by my like. I'm not gonna lie. I gotta use my own advice, and uh, and say chaos. Right? Maybe you can be, but I'm just saying, just for the sake of this video, go. If you want to be president, please go ahead, bro. You know, like you can prove me wrong. There is no pattern to be had when it comes to the future. It's truly chaotic, right? It's like the stock market. So maybe you can be the president. Okay, I'm not gonna take that away from you. But if you want to make money and actually be really successful, okay, drop that imagination shit. Okay, learn a crazy nice skill that people need and just rinse, bro. Fucking just milk that shit. Okay, milk that, and don't sit in the past and be like, well, I wasted my 20s. I wasted my teens. I didn't have my degree yet. What are you gonna do now? Okay, you know all. You don't need to sit down and think. Okay, you already know because you lived it. Okay, what are you gonna do about it? All right. What are you gonna do? David Goggins literally has a fucked up knees, okay? And he keeps running. There's no cartilage and lubrication in his knees, and it's literally grinds together the bone. He still runs. What are you gonna do? Fucking do about it, okay? You fucking bitch, right? So there you go, guys. Your your past is trapping you. Your future is inhibiting you, and ultimately, what I mean by future, your imagination is inhibiting you. All your desires and your aspirations are because of a fucking death fetish because you don't want to die and you want your legacy to live on like a bitch, right? And you just have to act upon it, okay? You can't conform to your environment's idea of what you once were. You gotta die and become reborn. You have ultimately have to let it go, bro. Put the fires in the bag, literally, okay? So I'll put all the links in the video. If you do what you want with this information, bro. Like if you want to become a sinister like person, like I believe in a God, bro. You know, like you're gonna go to hell, bro. But if you wanna go and help the ones, your loved ones, then you know, good for you. Information. I'll just say one thing. Information doesn't have a moral like it's not on the moral spectrum. Okay, like this gun right here, I could do very heinous acts with it. I could shoot up a school, or I could with this gun, I could save my family with it. Like it's just a tool. This information I'm giving you is a tool. It's ultimately the wielder of this information, right? So I could give you, I could fucking teach you black magic almost, right? It's what you do with it, bro. You know. So yeah, there you go, guys.